The old Earth was long gone. Thousands of years had passed since the planet's ruin. What was once a bustling world full of life and technology now lay silent and still. The great cities that once reached for the sky were nothing but crumbling ruins, barely visible under layers of earth and wild growth. On this quiet day, something new stirred in Earth's atmosphere. A sleek, silver ship cut through the clouds, its engines humming softly. Inside, two alien girls, Zara and Lyra, peered out of the viewports with wide eyes. Zara, tall and slender with pale blue skin, pressed her hand against the cool glass. "It's so green," she whispered, her voice filled with wonder. Her 4 eyes blinked in rapid succession, trying to take in every detail. Lyra, shorter and more muscular, with scales that shimmered like oil on water, nodded in agreement. "Nothing like the holovids we saw in school," she said, her forked tongue flicking out in excitement. Their ship, the Stargazer, descended slowly through the thick atmosphere. As they got closer to the surface, the true state of the planet became clear. The green was not the neat, ordered growth of a thriving civilization, but the wild tangle of nature reclaiming what was once hers. "Look there," Zora pointed suddenly. Through a break in the trees, they could see the twisted metal skeleton of what might have once been a tower. Signs of the old civilization. Lyra nodded, her scales rippling with a mix of excitement and apprehension. "Let's sit down near there. It's as good a place as any to start our exploration." With practiced ease, Lyra guided their ship to a small clearing not far from the ruined structure. As the landing gear touched down, both girls felt a shiver of anticipation run through them. "Remember the mission," Zara said, her voice taking on a serious tone. "We're here to study, not to interfere." Lyra rolled her eyes good-naturedly. "Yes, Professor Zara. I haven't forgotten the prime directive since we left the academy this morning." Despite her teasing, Lyra knew the importance of their mission. They were the first of their kind to set foot on this legendary planet, the homeworld of humanity, long lost to the stars. As the ship's ramp lowered, the girls were hit with a wave of scents and sounds unlike anything they had experienced before. The air was thick with the smell of green-growing things, of damp earth and wild flowers. Birds called in the distance, and insects buzzed around them curiously. "It's so alive," Zora breathed, her 4 eyes wide with wonder. Lyra nodded, her scales shimmering with excitement. "Come on, let's go see that ruin up close." They made their way through the undergrowth, their steps careful and measured. Every so often, they would stop to scan a plant or collect a soil sample, cataloging the rich biodiversity around them. As they approached the ruined tower, the true scale of it became apparent. Even fallen and broken, it dwarfed them. "How tall do you think it was?" Lyra asked, her neck craned back to take in the full height of the structure. Zara consulted her handheld scanner. "If my calculations are correct, it would have stood at least 300 meters tall in its prime." Lyra whistled, impressed. The humans certainly knew how to build big. As they circled the base of the tower, something caught Zora's eye. "Look here," she called, brushing away some vines. "There's some kind of symbol." Together, they cleared away the overgrowth to reveal a faded but still visible logo. It showed a stylized atom with orbiting electrons. "What do you think it means?" Lyra asked. Zora's eyes narrowed in concentration. "I'm not sure, but I think this might have been some kind of research facility." Suddenly, a loud crack echoed through the air. The ground beneath their feet shuddered and shifted. "Watch out," Lyra cried, grabbing Zora and pulling her back just as a section of the ground gave way. Where they had been standing moments before was now a gaping hole. As the dust settled, they could see the yawning darkness of an underground chamber. Zara and Lyra exchanged excited looks. "Should we?" Lyra began. Zara nodded, her curiosity overriding her caution. "We came here to explore, didn't we?" Carefully, they made their way down into the darkness, their heart rates quickening with each step. What secrets would they find in the depths of this ruined earth? Little did they know, their discovery was about to change everything they thought they knew about the lost human civilization. Zara and Lyra descended into the darkness, their hearts pounding with excitement and a touch of fear. The air grew cooler as they moved deeper underground, and a musty smell filled their nostrils. "Activate your light, Lyra," Zara whispered, her 4 eyes straining to see in the gloom. Lyra nodded, tapping a small device on her wrist. A soft, blue glow emanated from it, illuminating their surroundings. They found themselves in a vast chamber, its walls lined with strange, cylindrical pods. "What are these?" Lyra asked, her scales shimmering with curiosity as she approached one of the pods. Zora pulled out her scanner, running it over the nearest pod. "I'm not sure," she muttered, frowning at the readings. "The technology is unusual, unlike anything we've seen before." As they moved deeper into the chamber, they noticed that some of the pods were damaged, their contents long since turned to dust. But others appeared intact, their surfaces covered in a thin layer of frost. Lyra wiped away the frost from one of the pods, revealing a clear section. She gasped, stumbling backward. "Zara, there's something inside." Zara hurried over, her 4 eyes widening as she peered into the pod. Inside, they could see the unmistakable form of a human, perfectly preserved. "It can't be," Zara breathed, her voice filled with awe. "These must be some kind of stasis pods. But how? The technology required for this, it's beyond anything we thought the humans capable of." Lyra's scales rippled with excitement. "Do you think they're still alive?" Zara ran her scanner over the pod again, her brow furrowed in concentration. "According to these readings, yes. They're in a state of suspended animation. Incredible." As the 2 alien girls marveled at their discovery, a soft beeping sound caught their attention. They turned to see a control panel near the center of the room, its lights flickering weakly. "The system must have been activated when we entered," Zora said, approaching the panel cautiously. "Look, there's some kind of text here." The screen flickered to life, displaying a message in an ancient human language. Zara and Lyra huddled together, using their translation devices to decipher the words. "Emergency protocol activated," Lyra read aloud, "initiating revival sequence for Pod Alpha 1. Before they could react, a hissing sound filled the air. Steam billowed from one of the nearby pods as its systems whirred to life. "What do we do?" Lyra asked, her voice tinged with panic. Zara took a deep breath, steadying herself. "We wait. We're about to meet a real live human." The 2 aliens watched in fascination as the pod slowly opened. The mist cleared, revealing a woman with dark hair and olive skin. Her eyes fluttered open, confusion evident on her face. Where am I?" the woman asked, her voice hoarse from disuse. Zara and Lyra exchanged glances, unsure of how to proceed. Finally, Zara stepped forward, her hands raised in a gesture of peace. "Hello," she said softly, her translator converting her words to the human's language. "My name is Zara, and this is Lyra. We're not from your world." The woman's eyes widened as she took in the alien's appearance. To her credit, she didn't scream or panic. Instead, she slowly sat up, wincing slightly. "I'm Dr. Amelia Chen," she said, her voice growing stronger. How long have I been asleep?" Lyra stepped forward, her scales shimmering with sympathy. "We're not exactly sure, Dr. Chen, but from what we can tell, it's been thousands of years." Dr. Chen's face paled at this news. But that's impossible. The stasis pods were only meant to last a few centuries at most." Zara nodded, her expression serious. "Much has changed since you entered stasis, Dr. Chen. The world above, it's not as you remember it." As Dr. Chen struggled to process this information, alarms suddenly blared throughout the chamber. Red lights flashed, and more pods began to activate. "What's happening?" Lyra shouted over the noise. Dr. Chen's eyes widened in realization. "The revival sequence. It's cascading through the system. All the pods are waking up." Zara and Lyra watched in amazement as more pods hissed open, revealing humans of various ages and ethnicities. The chamber was soon filled with confused voices and the sound of people stumbling from their long sleep. As the newly awakened humans began to notice the two aliens in their midst, a tense silence fell over the room. Zara and Lyra found themselves at the center of attention, facing a group of humans who had just woken up to a world they no longer recognized. The fate of two species now hung in the balance, as aliens and humans prepared to face an uncertain future together. The underground chamber buzzed with tension as more humans awakened from their long slumber. Confused murmurs and gasps filled the air as they took in the sight of Zara and Lyra, the alien visitors from another world. Dr. Amelia Chen, still groggy from her extended sleep, raised her hands to quiet the growing commotion. "Everyone, please remain calm," she called out, her voice echoing in the cavernous space. "I know this is all very confusing, but we need to approach this situation rationally." A tall man with graying hair stepped forward, his eyes narrowed with suspicion. "Who are these creatures?" he demanded, pointing at Zara and Lyra. "And what happened to Earth?" Zara's four eyes blinked rapidly, her blue skin shimmering with nervous energy. She took a deep breath and spoke, her translator converting her words. "We are explorers from a distant star system. We came to Earth to study its history and ecology. We had no idea we would find survivors." Lyra nodded, her scales rippling as she added, "We entered this facility by accident and triggered your revival sequence. We're just as surprised as you are." The humans exchanged uneasy glances, some backing away while others leaned in, curiosity overcoming their fear. Dr. Chen cleared her throat. "I'm Dr. Amelia Chen, lead scientist of Project Chrysalis. This facility was designed as a last resort to preserve a sample of humanity in case of global catastrophe." She turned to Zara and Lyra. "Can you tell us? What year is it?" Lyra consulted her wrist device. "According to our records, it's been approximately 5,000 Earth years since your civilization's collapse." A collective gasp rippled through the crowd of awakened humans. The reality of their situation began to sink in. 5,000 years. A young woman whispered, her voice trembling. "Everything we knew, everyone we loved." Dr. Chen's face was grim, but she maintained her composure. "We all knew the risks when we entered stasis. Now we must focus on the present and future." She turned to the aliens. "Zara, Lyra, what can you tell us about the current state of Earth?" Zara stepped forward, her voice gentle. "The Earth has changed significantly. Nature has reclaimed much of what was once civilization. The air is clean and wildlife flourishes, but we've seen no signs of advanced human settlements." As the humans processed this information, alarms suddenly blared throughout the facility. Red lights flashed, and a computerized voice echoed through the chamber. "Warning. Life support systems critical. Oxygen levels declining. Emergency protocols activated." Panic erupted among the newly awakened humans. Dr. Chen rushed to a nearby control panel, her fingers flying over the keys. "The facility's systems are failing," she announced, her voice tight with concern. "We were never meant to be in stasis for this long. We need to evacuate immediately." Lyra turned to Zara, her scales flashing with determination. "Our ship. We can use it to get them out of here." Zara nodded in agreement. "It won't fit everyone, but we can make multiple trips." She raised her voice to address the crowd. "We have a spacecraft on the surface. We can transport you to safety, but we'll need to work together." The gray-haired man who had spoken earlier stepped forward. "And why should we trust you? How do we know this isn't some alien trick?" Before Zara or Lyra could respond, the facility shuddered violently. Dust and small debris rained down from the ceiling. "We don't have a choice," Dr. Chen said firmly. It's either trust them or be buried alive here. The humans looked at each other, fear and uncertainty plain on their faces. Finally, a consensus seemed to form. They would take their chances with the aliens. All right, Dr. Chen said, taking charge. We need to organize into groups. The children and elderly will go first. Then, she was cut off by another violent tremor. A large crack appeared in the ceiling, and chunks of concrete began to fall. There's no time. Lyra shouted. We need to move now. In the chaos that followed, humans and aliens worked side by side, helping the weakest members of the group towards the exit. Zara and Lyra used their superior strength to clear debris and create a path. As they neared the surface, sunlight began to filter through the cracks in the earth above. For the first time in millennia, the humans were about to step into a world they no longer knew, guided by beings from beyond the stars. The future of humanity now rested in the hands of two young alien explorers and a group of people out of time. As they emerged into the overgrown ruins of their once great civilization, both species knew that nothing would ever be the same again. The sun's warm rays bathed the group as they emerged from the crumbling underground facility. The humans squinted, their eyes unused to natural light after millennia in stasis. Before them stretched a vast landscape of lush greenery, nothing like the world they had left behind. Dr. Amelia Chen stepped forward, her hand shielding her eyes. It's beautiful, she whispered, her voice filled with awe and a hint of sadness. Zara and Lyra stood nearby, watching the humans' reactions with fascination. We need to move quickly, Lyra said, her scales shimmering with urgency. Our ship is this way. As they made their way through the overgrown ruins, the humans marveled at the changed world around them. Massive trees grew through the remains of skyscrapers, and colorful birds darted through the air. Look, a young boy cried out, pointing to a group of deer grazing nearby. The animals lifted their heads, regarding the strange group with curiosity before bounding away into the undergrowth. The gray-haired man who had been skeptical earlier approached Zora. I'm Dr. Marcus Holloway, he said, his tone softer now. I want to thank you for saving us. I'm sorry for my earlier hostility. Zora's 4 eyes blinked in surprise. We understand, Dr. Holloway. This must be overwhelming for all of you. As they walked, Dr. Chen fell into step beside Lyra. Tell me, she said, her scientific curiosity piqued, how did your people discover Earth? And why did you come here? Lyra's scales rippled with excitement at the question. We found old transmissions from your planet, she explained. Radio waves, television broadcasts. They fascinated our scientists for generations. We've been studying Earth from afar for a long time. Before Dr. Chen could respond, a loud roar echoed through the air. The group froze, fear etched on their faces. What was that? Someone whispered. Zara's expression grew serious. The ecosystem has changed significantly in your absence. New species have evolved, some quite large and potentially dangerous. As if on cue, the trees ahead parted, revealing a massive creature. It looked like a bear, but easily 3 times the size, with thick, shaggy fur and enormous claws. Panic rippled through the group of humans. Some screamed. Others stumbled backward. The creature roared again, confused and agitated by the strange intruders in its territory. Everyone, stay calm. Lyra called out, her voice steady despite her own fear. Move slowly. We're almost to the ship. Dr. Holloway stepped forward, placing himself between the creature and the group. I was a wildlife biologist, he said, his voice low. Let me try something. To everyone's amazement, Dr. Holloway began to make low, rumbling sounds in his throat. The creature tilted its head, listening. Slowly, its aggressive stance relaxed. It's working, Zora whispered in awe. Dr. Holloway, keep going. Everyone else, move towards the ship, quietly. As Dr. Holloway continued his improvised communication, the rest of the group inched their way past the creature. It watched them go, curiosity replacing its earlier aggression. Finally, they'd reached the clearing where Zara and Lyra's ship waited. The sleek, silver vessel stood in stark contrast to the wild growth around it. "It's so small," one of the humans said, doubt in his voice. "How will we all fit?" Lyra tapped a sequence on her wrist device. The ship hummed to life, and suddenly its size seemed to ripple and change. What had appeared to be a small scout vessel now looked large enough to accommodate the entire group. "Dimensional compression technology," Zara explained, noting the humans' astonished expressions. "It's bigger on the inside." As they began to board the ship, Dr. Chen turned to look back at the world they were leaving. The mega-bear was still visible in the distance, with Dr. Holloway slowly backing away from it. "What now?" Dr. Chen asked, her voice quiet. "Where will we go?" Zora placed a comforting hand on her shoulder. "For now, we'll take you to our orbital station. It's safe there, and we can plan our next steps." Lyra nodded in agreement. "Your awakening changes everything. Our people will want to help you, to learn from you. And perhaps we can find a way for humans to reclaim their world." As the last of the humans boarded the ship, including a slightly shaken but exhilarated Dr. Holloway, a sense of hope began to grow. They were strangers in their own world, but they were not alone. The ship's engines hummed to life, and slowly it rose above the canopy of the forest. As Earth fell away beneath them, humans and aliens alike gazed out at the blue and green planet. It was the end of one chapter in human history, but the beginning of an entirely new one. A journey of rediscovery, cooperation, and hope was about to begin. The alien ship glided smoothly through Earth's atmosphere, leaving behind the blue and green planet that had been humanity's cradle for millions of years. Inside, the awakened humans pressed against the viewports, watching their world shrink beneath them. Dr. Amelia Chen stood next to Zara, her eyes wide with wonder. "I never thought I'd see Earth from space," she whispered, her voice filled with emotion. Zara's 4 eyes blinked in sympathy. "It's a beautiful sight," she agreed. "But don't worry, Dr. Chen. This isn't goodbye forever." As the ship broke free of Earth's gravity, a massive structure came into view. The humans gasped collectively at the sight of the alien orbital station. It was a marvel of engineering, a spinning wheel of gleaming metal and pulsing lights. "Welcome to Starvold," Lyra announced, her scales shimmering with pride. "This will be your temporary home while we figure out our next steps." The ship docked smoothly with the station. As the airlock cycled, Dr. Marcus Holloway turned to address the group of humans. "Remember," he said, his voice firm but kind, "we're ambassadors for our entire species now. Let's show our hosts the best of humanity." With a hiss, the airlock doors slid open, revealing a reception area filled with aliens of various shapes and sizes. The humans stepped forward hesitantly, their eyes wide with a mix of fear and curiosity. An alien stepped forward from the crowd. It was taller than Zara and Lyra, with shimmering golden skin and 6 limbs. "Greetings, humans of Earth," it said, its voice resonating deeply. "I am High Counselor Xen. On behalf of the Galactic Alliance, I welcome you to Starvold." Dr. Chen, taking on the role of spokesperson, stepped forward and bowed slightly. "Thank you, High Counselor Xen. We are grateful for your hospitality and assistance." As the humans were led deeper into the station, they marveled at the advanced technology around them. Holographic displays flickered with information in alien languages, and robots of various designs moved efficiently through the corridors. The group was shown to a large, comfortable area that had been prepared for them. It was designed to resemble Earth environments, with plants, simulated sunlight, and even the sound of birds chirping. "We hope this would help you feel more at home," Lyra explained, her scales rippling with anticipation. Dr. Holloway ran his hand over a leaf, his eyes widening in surprise. This is an oak tree," he said, his voice filled with wonder. "How did you recreate it so perfectly?" Zara stepped forward, her blue skin glowing softly under the artificial light. We've been studying Earth for a long time, Dr. Holloway. We've cataloged much of your planet's flora and fauna. As the humans settled into their new surroundings, High Counselor Xen approached Dr. Chen. Dr. Chen, we would like to begin discussions about the future, both yours and Earth's. Dr. Chen nodded solemnly. Of course. But first, I think we all have many questions. The High Counselor gestured towards a large meeting room. Then let us begin. There is much to discuss. Inside the meeting room, the leaders of the human group gathered around a table with Sen, Zara, and Lyra. A holographic display of Earth rotated slowly above the center of the table. First, Sen began, we must address the state of your world. In the 5,000 years since your civilization's collapse, Earth has undergone significant changes. The hologram zoomed in, showing the overgrown ruins of cities, vast forests, and new geographic features. The good news, Lyra interjected, her scales flickering with excitement, is that Earth has healed itself in many ways. The air and water are cleaner than they've been in millennia. Dr. Holloway leaned forward, his eyes fixed on the hologram. What about other humans? Surely some must have survived outside of our facility. Sen's expression became somber. We have detected small pockets of human populations. They appear to be living in a pre-industrial state, scattered across the continents. This news sent a ripple of shock through the human leaders. They were not alone, but their civilization had indeed been lost. So what happens now? Dr. Chen asked, her voice steady despite the weight of the situation. What role do we play in this new galaxy? Sen's eyes seemed to sparkle with an alien emotion. That, Dr. Chen, is largely up to you. You carry with you the knowledge and skills of a highly advanced civilization. You could choose to rejoin your kind on Earth, to guide them towards a new future, or you could join us among the stars, sharing your unique perspectives and abilities with the Galactic Alliance. The humans exchanged glances, the magnitude of the decision before them sinking in. They were no longer just survivors of a lost world. They were now the bridge between Earth's past and its future, with the power to shape the destiny of their entire species. As the meeting continued late into the station's artificial night, one thing became clear. The awakening of these humans was not just the end of their long sleep. It was the beginning of a new era for humanity, Earth, and perhaps the entire galaxy. As the meeting continued late into the station's artificial night, one thing became clear. The awakening of these humans was not just the end of their long sleep. It was the beginning of a new era for humanity, Earth, and perhaps the entire galaxy. Days turned into weeks aboard the Starhold station as the humans adjusted to their new reality. They spent their time learning about the current state of the galaxy, studying alien technologies, and debating their next move. Dr. Amelia Chen found herself in the station's advanced laboratory, working alongside Zora to analyze data about Earth's current ecosystem. It's fascinating, she mused, her eyes fixed on a holographic display of the planet. Nature has reclaimed so much, but there are also new species we never could have imagined. Zara nodded, her 4 eyes blinking in sequence. Life always finds a way to adapt and thrive. Your planet's resilience is remarkable. Meanwhile, Dr. Marcus Holloway had taken to spending time in the station's virtual reality chambers. These advanced simulations allowed him to visit different parts of Earth, observing the changes firsthand without leaving the station. It's both heartbreaking and awe-inspiring, he told Lyra as they exited a simulation of what was once New York City, to see our greatest achievements reclaimed by nature, but also to witness the beauty that has grown in their place. Lyra's scales shimmered with empathy. Perhaps it's not an ending, but a new beginning for your world. As the humans learned more about their changed planet and the wider galaxy, tensions began to rise among them. Some, led by a young engineer named Sarah Takahashi, argued passionately for returning to Earth immediately. It's our home, Sarah insisted during a heated debate. We have a responsibility to help the surviving humans there, to rebuild our civilization. Others, including a historian named Dr. Ezra Cohen, advocated for remaining in space and joining the Galactic Alliance. "We have an unprecedented opportunity here," he argued. "We could be humanity's ambassadors to the stars, learning and growing in ways we never imagined possible." The divide grew deeper as the days passed, threatening to fracture the small group of human survivors. Sensing the growing discord, High Counselor Xen called for a meeting with all the humans. They gathered in a large auditorium, the walls displaying a breathtaking view of Earth and the surrounding star field. "Esteemed humans," Xen began, his golden skin glowing softly, "we understand the difficult choice you face. But perhaps it is not a choice between two extremes. We have a proposal that might offer a compromise." The humans leaned forward, their attention captured. Xen gestured, and a holographic model appeared in the center of the room. "We propose the establishment of a joint human-alien base on Earth," Xen explained, "a place where you can begin the process of reconnecting with your planet and your scattered kin, while also maintaining a connection to the broader galactic community." The hologram showed a sleek, eco-friendly structure nestled in a lush valley. Solar panels glinted on its roof, and small spacecraft could be seen coming and going. "This base would serve multiple purposes," Zara chimed in. "It would be a center for scientific research, allowing us to study Earth's changed ecosystem together. It would also serve as a gradual reintroduction point for advanced technology to your world." Lyra stepped forward, her scales rippling with excitement. "And most importantly, it would be a place where you could make contact with the surviving human populations, sharing your knowledge and helping them progress at a pace they're comfortable with." The room buzzed with excited conversation as the humans discussed this new possibility. Dr. Chen raised her hand, and the room fell silent. "This sounds like an incredible opportunity," she said, her voice filled with cautious optimism. "But how would we prevent this from becoming an invasion or colonization of Earth? Our history has shown the dangers of more advanced societies imposing themselves on others." Xen nodded solemnly. "A wise concern, Dr. Chen. That is why we propose that this base and all operations on Earth be led and governed by you, the awakened humans. We of the Galactic Alliance would act only as advisors and supporters. The future of Earth should be decided by Earth's children." This statement sent a ripple of approval through the human group. Even those who had been most opposed to returning to Earth seemed to warm to this compromise. Dr. Holloway stood up, his eyes shining with unused tears. "I think I speak for many of us when I say this plan offers hope, not just for us, but for all of humanity and for Earth itself. It's a chance to right the wrongs of our past and build a better future." As the humans began to voice their agreement, a sense of unity and purpose filled the room. They had awakened to a changed world and a vast, unknowable galaxy. But now they had a mission: to bridge the gap between Earth's past and its future, to guide their long-lost kin towards the stars, and to ensure that humanity's next chapter would be one of wisdom, compassion, and harmony with both their planet and the wider universe. The journey ahead would be long and fraught with challenges. But as the humans looked at each other, at their alien allies, and at the beautiful blue planet hanging in space before them, they knew that they were ready to take the first steps towards a new dawn for humanity. 6 months had passed since the decision to establish a joint human-alien base on Earth. The day had finally come for the awakened humans to return to their home planet, not as mere survivors, but as guides for humanity's future. The sleek alien shuttle descended through Earth's atmosphere, carrying Dr. Amelia Chen, Dr. Marcus Holloway, Sarah Takahashi, Dr. Ezra Cohen, and a small team of their peers. Zara and Lyra accompanied them, representing the Galactic Alliance. As they broke through the cloud cover, the humans pressed against the viewports, their hearts racing with anticipation. Below them stretched a vast, green valley nestled between towering mountains. At its center stood their new home, Haven Base. The base was a marvel of both human ingenuity and alien technology. Its organic design blended seamlessly with the surrounding landscape, solar panels glinting in the sunlight, and gardens flourishing on every available surface. "It's beautiful," Sarah whispered, her eyes wide with wonder. The shuttle touched down on a landing pad, and as the doors opened, the humans took their first breath of Earth's air in over 5,000 years. The scent of pine and wildflowers filled their lungs, and a warm breeze caressed their faces. Dr. Holloway knelt down, running his fingers through the grass. "We're home," he said, his voice choked with emotion. Their moment of reverence was interrupted by a commotion at the edge of the clearing. A group of humans, dressed in simple, handmade clothing, emerged from the forest. They carried spears and looked at the newcomers with a mix of fear and curiosity. Dr. Chen stepped forward, her hands raised in a gesture of peace. "Hello," she called out, hoping their language hadn't changed too much over the millennia. "We come as friends." To everyone's relief, the tribal humans seemed to understand. Their leader, a tall woman with intricate tattoos, stepped forward. "You come from the sky," she said, her voice filled with awe. "Are you the ancestors our stories speak of?" Dr. Chen glanced at her companions before responding carefully. "In a way, yes. We are your long-lost kin, returned to help guide humanity towards a brighter future." Over the next few hours, the two groups began to communicate, bridging the vast gap of time that separated them. The tribal humans shared stories of their history, of the great calamity that had nearly wiped out humanity, and of their slow struggle to survive in the changed world. In turn, the awakened humans and their alien allies explained their story and their mission. They spoke of the wonders of science, of the vastness of space, and of the potential that lay ahead for humanity. As the sun began to set, casting a golden glow over the valley, Dr. Cohen addressed the gathered crowd, a mix of tribal humans, awakened sleepers, and alien allies. "Today marks the beginning of a new chapter for humanity," he said, his voice carrying across the hushed gathering. "We stand at a crossroads, with the wisdom of our past and the promise of our future stretching out before us. Together, we have the opportunity to build a civilization that learns from the mistakes of our ancestors and reaches for the stars." Sarah stepped forward, her eyes shining with determination. "But we must move forward with caution and respect," she added. "Our goal is not to impose our will or to repeat the errors of colonization. Instead, we will work alongside our Earth-born kin, growing and learning together." Dr. Holloway nodded in agreement. "We bring knowledge of advanced technology and the wonders of the universe," he said. "But you," he gestured to the tribal humans, "have wisdom we lack. You understand this changed Earth in ways we are only beginning to grasp. Together, we can forge a path that honors both our past and our potential." As night fell, the group gathered around a bonfire. Stories were shared, songs were sung, and bonds began to form between people separated by millennia, but united by their shared humanity. Zara and Lyra watched from a distance, their alien features softened by the firelight. "Do you think they'll succeed?" Lyra asked, her scales shimmering with hope. Zara's 4 eyes blinked thoughtfully. "The path ahead will not be easy," she said. "But if any species has the resilience and adaptability to overcome such challenges, it's humanity." As the fire crackled and sparks drifted up towards the star-filled sky, a sense of hope and possibility filled the air. The awakened humans had bridged the gap between Earth's past and its future. Now, standing alongside their long-lost kin and their new alien allies, they were ready to write the next chapter in humanity's grand story. The journey of rediscovery and growth was just beginning, but already it held the promise of a future brighter than any they could have imagined in their long-ago past. As human and alien alike gazed up at the twinkling stars, they knew that this was not just a new beginning for Earth, but a new dawn for humanity's place in the vast, wondrous tapestry of the universe.